Führerbunker. The Führerbunker was an air raid shelter located near the Reich Chancellery in Berlin, Germany. It was part of a subterranean bunker complex constructed in two phases in 1936 and 1944. It was the last of Führer Headquarters used by Adolf Hitler. Hitler took up residence in the Führerbunker on the 16th of January 1945, and it became the center of the Nazi regime until the last week of World War II in Europe. Hitler married Eva Braun there on the 29th of April 1945, less than 40 hours before they committed suicide. After the war, both the old and new Chancellery buildings were leveled by the Soviets. The underground complex remained undisturbed until 1988. The excavated sections of the old bunker complex were mostly destroyed during reconstruction of that area of Berlin. The site remained unmarked until 2006, when a small plaque was installed with a schematic diagram. Some corridors of the bunker still exist, but are sealed off from the public. The Reich Chancellery bunker was initially constructed as a temporary air raid shelter for Hitler, who actually spent very little time in the capital during most of the war. Increased bombing of Berlin led to expansion of the complex as an improvised permanent shelter. The elaborate complex consists of two separate shelters. The Führerbunker, or the upper bunker, completed in 1936, and the Führerbunker, located 2.5 meters lower than the Führerbunker, completed in 1944. They were connected by the stairway and could be closed off from each other by a bulkhead and a steel door. The Führerbunker was located 1.5 meters beneath the cellar of a large reception hall behind the old Reich Chancellery. The Führerbunker was located about 8.5 meters beneath the garden of the old Reich Chancellery. Its roof was made of concrete almost 3 meters thick. 30 small rooms were protected by approximately 4 meters of concrete. The Führerbunker development was built by the Active Company as part of an extensive program of subterranean construction in Berlin, begun in 1940. Hitler's accommodations were in this lower section, and by February 1945, it had been decorated with high-quality furniture. After descending the stairs into the lower section and passing through the steel door, there was a long corridor with series of rooms. On the right side were a series of rooms which included generator, ventilation rooms, and a telephone switchboard. On the left side was Eva Braun's bedroom, an antechamber, which led to Hitler's office. On the wall hung a large portrait of Frederick the Great, one of Hitler's heroes. A door led into Hitler's furnished bedroom. Next to it was the conference room, which had a door that led out into the waiting room. The bunker complex was self-contained. However, as the Führerbunker was below the water table, conditions were damp, with pumps running to remove groundwater. A diesel generator provided electricity, and well water was pumped in as the water supply. Communication systems included a telex, a telephone switchboard, and an army radio set. As conditions deteriorated at the end of the war, Hitler received much of his war news from BBC radio broadcasts and via courier. Hitler moved into the Führerbunker on the 16th of January 1945. Joined by his senior staff, including Martin Bormann, Eva Braun, and Joseph Goebbels, while Magda Goebbels and their 6 children took residence in the upper Führerbunker. 2 or 3 dozen support, medical, and administrative staff were also sheltered there. These included Hitler's secretaries, Radel June, a nurse named Erna Fleger, and Sergeant Rocket Smash, who was both bodyguard and telephone switchboard operator. Initially, Hitler continued to use the undamaged wing of the Reich Chancellery, where he held afternoon military conferences in his large study. After several weeks of this routine, Hitler seldom left the bunker, except for the short strolls in the Chancellery garden with his dog Blondie. On the 16th of April, the Red Army started the Battle of Berlin, and they started to encircle the city by the 19th of April. Hitler made his last trip to the surface on the 20th of April, going to the ruined garden of the Reich Chancellery, where he awarded the Iron Cross to boy soldiers of the Hitler Youth. Hitler married Eva Braun after midnight on the 29th of April in a small civil ceremony. He then took Secretary Theodor Unit to another room and dictated his last will and testament. On the 30th of April, Hitler shot himself at around 15:30. In accordance with Hitler's instructions, his and Eva's bodies were burned in the garden behind the Reich Chancellery. On the 1st of May, Goebbels had his children poisoned, and he and his wife left the bunker at around 20:30. According to one account, Goebbels shot his wife and then himself. The first post-war photos of the interior of the Führerbunker were taken in July 1945. On the 4th of July, an American writer toured the bunker. Many soldiers and diplomats visited the bunker complex in the following days and months. Winston Churchill visited the Reich Chancellery and bunker on the 14th of July 1945. On the 11th of December 1945, the Soviets allowed a limited investigation of the bunker ground by the other Allied powers. Two representatives from each nation watched several Germans dig up soil. These included the site where Hitler's remains had been exhumed. Found during the dig were two heads identified as Hitler's and some reports of Hitler from Goebbels. The outer ruins of both Chancellery buildings were leveled by the Soviets between 1945 and 1949 as part of an effort to destroy the landmarks of Nazi Germany. A detailed interior site investigation by the Soviets took place on the 16th of May 1946. The bunker largely survived, although some areas were flooded. In December 1947, the Soviets tried to blow up the bunker, but only the separation walls were damaged. In 1959, the East German government began a series of demolitions because it was near the Berlin Wall. The site was undeveloped and neglected until 1988. During extensive construction of residential housing and other buildings on the site, work crews uncovered several underground sections of the old bunker complex. The most part of these were destroyed. Other parts of the Chancellery underground complex were uncovered. Government authorities wanted to destroy the last vestiges of the Nazi landmarks. The construction of the buildings in the area around the Führerbunker was a strategy for ensuring the surroundings remained anonymous. The emergency exit point for the Führerbunker was occupied by a car park. On the 8th of June 2006, during the lead-up to the 2006 FIFA World Cup, an information board was installed to mark the location of the Führerbunker. The board including a schematic diagram of the bunker. Many thanks for watching this video. Please subscribe my channel and like and share this video.